Hello, I'm Dr. Beth Rogers and I'm here to introduce you to the Business-to-Business Relationship Development Box. This is a 2x2 matrix which I designed for sales managers. You can find out more detail about it in Chapter 3 of Rethinking Sales Management. Now, this is a tool which is to help sales managers analyse their customer portfolio and make decisions about resource allocation. Analysing customers is the first point. It's a way of understanding how strategically important customers are to the supplier. So how do we work that out? Obviously, the sales manager has to understand what the company is trying to achieve and to think about how customers contribute towards that strategy. So how can sales managers categorise customers and use this categorisation as a rational basis for decisions about resource allocation? Well, what we use to start building up the matrix are two axes. On one axis, the vertical axis, there's a measure for how important the customer is to the organisation. So from the supplier's point of view, which are the most attractive customers to us? And on the horizontal axis, moving from right to left, we need to have a measure of how important we are to the customer as a supplier. And obviously what we'll see straight away from those two measures is that there are going to be some situations where our strategies are in alignment with customers, and there's going to be others where there are misalignments which will provoke some interesting and difficult decisions about resource allocation. So now I'd like to talk about the boxes in the quadrant. And let's look first of all at the strategic box. Now, this is where the sales manager is going to want to allocate plenty of resource. And the reason being, we have mutual opportunities for value here. The customer is very attractive to us as a supplier, and we're very attractive to the customer. The next box on the quadrant I want to talk about is where we also have alignment. This is where the customers are less attractive to us as a supplier and we are less attractive to the customer. Now, some textbooks might say, well, why would you do business under those circumstances? Well, there are lots of good reasons for having some tactical business in your customer portfolio, and we'll look at those in more detail later. Now, let's look at some of the situations where the intent of us as a supplier in our sales strategy and the customer in their purchasing strategy are not in alignment. First of all, the prospective box. Now, lots of companies talk about having prospects, and what they mean is customers that they haven't won yet. So this is where from a point of view of sales management, we've identified that a company out there is a prospective customer. We want their business, but from their point of view, their purchasing strategy is already vested in a competitor. So consequently, we're not doing business with them, we don't have any share of their business, and somehow or another, because they're important to us, we've got to win it. The next situation where there's a mismatch of strategies is called cooperative. And this is the final box in the matrix. This is where we've identified a customer as less important to us, but in terms of their purchasing strategy, we're important to them. So we've got to keep this business. There's absolutely no reason why we wouldn't, but we have to do it on the basis of understanding how we're going to allocate resource appropriately to it.